His first idea, he said, had been to take her to a hotel and then call in the special police. He would pursue them to put her on the register as a common prostitute, and that would make her wild. Then he would look up some friends of his in the underworld, fellows who kept hearts for what they could make out of them, but they had practically nothing to suggest. Still, as he pointed out, that sort of thing should have been right up their street. What's the good of being in that line if you don't know how to treat a girl who's let you down? When he told them that, they suggested he should brand her, but that wasn't what he wanted either. It would need a lot of thinking out. But first, he would like to ask me something. Before he asked it, though, he would like to have my opinion of the story he had been telling in a general way. I said I hadn't any, but I would find it interesting. Did I think she really had done him dirt? I had to admit it looked like that. Then he asked me if I didn't think she should be punished and what I would do if I were in his shoes. I told him one could never be quite sure how to act in such cases, but I quite understood his wanting her to suffer for it. I drank some more wine, while Raymond lit another cigarette and began explaining what he proposed to do. He wanted to write a letter, a real stinker, that will get her on the road, and at the same time make her repent of what she had done. Then, when she came back, he would go to bed with her, and just when she was properly primed up, he would spit in her face and throw her out of the room. I agreed it wasn't a bad plan. It would punish her, all right. But Raymond told me he didn't feel up to writing the kind of letter that was needed, and that was where I could help. When I didn't say anything, he asked me if I would mind doing it right away, and I said no. I would have a shot at it. He drank off a glass of wine and stood up. Then he pushed aside the plates and a bit of cold pudding that was left, to make room on the table. After carefully wiping the oilcloth, he got a sheet of squared paper from the drawer of his bedside table. After that, an envelope, a small red wooden pen holder, and a square ink pot with purple ink in it. The moment he mentioned the girl's name, I knew she was a Moore. I wrote the letter. I didn't take too much trouble over it, but I wanted to satisfy Raymond, as I felt no reason not to satisfy him. Then I read out what I had written. Puffing at his cigarette, he listened, nodding now and then. Read it again, please, he said. He seemed delighted. That is the stuff, he chuckled. I could tell you was a brainy sort, old boy, and you know what's what. At first, I hardly noticed that, old boy. It came back to me when he slapped me on the shoulder and said, "So now we are pals, ain't we?" I kept silence and he said again. I didn't care one way or other, but I seemed to so set on it. I nodded and said yes. We put the letter into the envelope and we finished off the wine. Then both of us smoked for some minutes without speaking. The street was quite quiet, except when now and again a car passed. Finally, I remarked that it was getting late, and Raymond agreed. Time's gone mighty fast this evening, he added, in a way that was true. I wanted to be in bed, only it was such an effort making a move. I must have looked tired, for Raymond said to me, "You mustn't let things get you down." At first, I didn't catch his meaning. Then he explained that he had heard of my mother's death. Anyhow, he said that was something bound to happen one day or another. I appreciated that, and told him so. When I rose, Raymond shook hands very warmly, remarking that men always understood each other. After closing the door behind me, I lingered for some moments on the landing. The whole building was as quiet as the grave, a dank, dark smell rising from the well hole of the stairs. I could hear nothing but the blood throbbing in my ears, and for a while all stood still, listening to it. Then the dog began to moan in old Solomon's room, and through the sleep-bound house the little plaintive sound rose slowly, like a flower growing out of the silence and darkness.